I'm Natalie Basha, journalist and world traveler. I'm visiting social media's most trending destinations around the world, but giving you a deeper look at the people and cultures behind them. This is Hashtag Travel. London is one of the most popular cities in the world, and as such, it has millions of trending hashtags here. London, 135 million tags. And that does not include all the other variations of it. Hashtag London Life, hashtag London by Londoners, or even the trending attractions. Hashtag London Eye, hashtag Buckingham Palace. I could go on. Even just where I'm standing in this park. Behind me, that's Tower Bridge. You got the River Thames. Right over there is Tower of London. The world has always had their eyes on London. But what makes this city so unique is behind all the trending stuff. There's a fascinating unknown London, where old things come back to life, where entire worlds exist underground, and where once beloved institutions in London are slowly being lost to the march of time. London has a handful of true icons, the things that are instantly recognizable as London institutions. One of them is the black cab and their famously knowledgeable drivers.
Hi, Natalie. How are you?
Nice to finally meet you.
Lovely to meet you. Yeah, it's great.
Let me check out your car. This is so cool.
This is a new London taxi, electric.
Drivers here have to pass a notoriously hard navigation test called the Knowledge, which takes up to 5 years to study for. And it's what makes London cabbies somewhat of a legend.
It is one of the most nerve-wracking things you can ever do in your life. Trust me.
During the test, each driver has to fill out a blank map of random sections of London, not only naming every street, but then mapping out the best routes from point A to point B.
No one fails the knowledge. People give up because it's tough.
So is it fair to say you almost have like a GPS in your brain? You have to know that much
we're
information?
better than a GPS. Our brain grows when you do the knowledge. If you look to your right, Natalie, we're just coming up to the British Museum now on our right.
Oh, wow, that's huge, beautiful. You seem to enjoy your job. Do you like it?
Yeah, I love it. I love talking to people. I love showing people around, making people happy. I think people know that you've worked hard to get your badge, to get your licence, to be able to drive in London is a lot of hard work. So you are proud of yourself a bit. We're going through Camden at the moment.
Is this Camden?
Camden, yeah.
Oh, I've heard so much about it.
Coming up the Camden Lock and Camden Market.
Mental note, must come here. I bet there's lots of hashtags to look into. Thank you very much. Bye.
Cheerio.
Mustafa.
Hello.
Hi, I'm Natalie. Nice to meet you. This is nice.
Thank you.
Peppered around London are the iconic red phone booths. But you'll notice that some of them have been totally abandoned, while some of them have been totally transformed. Mustafa's phone booth is now a cafe on Hampstead High Street, a very posh neighborhood in North London.
Would you like coffee?
Yes, please. Let's see.
Like?
I'll try a flat white.
Flat white?
Yeah.
Sure.
So how long have you had this space open?
Well, the phone box itself has been here since 1935. I was born in London.
Yeah.
And I go back to the days when I used to use the phone boxes to make calls. And obviously now, because of mobile phones and stuff, nobody uses them. So I thought one day, there must be something we can do with these boxes to make use of them again.
Yeah.
Can convert the inside of them, but from the outside, they have to stay original. We have to use the original paint.
What's people's reactions usually when they walk,
they like it.
past
Everybody loves it. The main three things of London for tourists, for me anyway, is one is the phone box, the double-decker bus, and the black cab.
Yeah.
We never come up with this idea. Eventually, they would have had to take them down, I should imagine.
And that would have been a nostalgic travesty to the city. The very first red phone booths were installed in London around 1926, and by the mid-80s, the phone booths started to decline both in use and upkeep. Some were marked historic buildings, but most weren't. And it wasn't until in the last 5 or so years that enterprising Londoners started to repurpose them in other ways than just a cafe.
I want to go check out the other one. He pointed out this one up here.
He said it's a cupcake vending machine.
My producer Morgan and I went on a hunt for other phone booths.
Oh, look at this. Oh, look.
So it's a
Collection.
cupcake collection. So I guess you order cupcakes and then pick them up here.
We found an iPhone repair booth, closed due to bad weather.
It is a phone repair, I
It
can
is.
see.
Okay.
Look in there.
A phone booth turned into a library.
I think this is the middle 50 Shades book. I wouldn't know. Everyday salads. Honestly, this is better than the book exchanges in LA.
And a stained glass art exhibit on the River Thames.
I mean, the other thing is, like I said, I'm making use of something which is iconic to London.
Yeah.
You know, where there's other parts that you see the phone boxes have smashed window panels in them and there's graffiti all over them, you know. But with us occupying them, we're keeping them clean and we're making use of empty space.
But it's not just phone booths. There are many other unexpected things around London that have been repurposed for modern times. Some of them you could walk right past and never even notice. I'm heading to one right now. In Clapham, a town in South London, there's a Victorian-era underground bathroom that today is a very happening bar called WC Wine and Charcuterie. From the street, it still looks like a bathroom or a water closet.
This place is so cool. John.
thanks.
This is really, we walked in and we were like, this is really neat. How old is this place?
Yeah,
do you know the story of it?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's Victorian. So it's about 1890, you know, early 1900s.
When Jake, who's originally from Australia, first walked into this bathroom, it was dark and decrepit. Squatters had been living in it.
It was about a 3.5-week period of just cleaning, just disinfecting and cleaning it down and getting to a base state. The original floors, like the mosaic floors, I didn't even know that they existed until our second visit because it was just kind of caked full of just years and years and years of grime. The original bar over there, that used to be the attendance office, which we converted into the bar. If you look closely, you'll see that there, you know, we've cut half of the door off, you know, for the entry and stuff like that there.
Yeah.
So as you look closer and closer, it kind of gives away a lot of its kind of secrets of its former self. You open that up. These were the original Royal Daltons, so if you can imagine, there was a big line of those all down the wall.
Because it still says WC outside, which I know means wine and charcuterie, but do people ever walk in here thinking or expecting it to be a bathroom? Still?
All the time, all the time. But we actually have, you know, and as far as the council goes, as far as giving back, there's a clause in our lease which we were happy to agree to, that if anybody, you know, wants to use a loo, they can come down there and they can do it.
This is a theme that I'm noticing, I think, with London, because London has so much history and is so ancient, that there is a little bit of this taking what existed or what's old and kind of repurposing it for modern day, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's that escapism. There's just this whole other subterranean world which London has to offer.
The more I looked, the more I discovered this subterranean world he's talking about. And just around the corner, in the same neighborhood, people shop the local high street, most unaware that 100 feet below them, a completely different world is growing.
Look at this. This is crazy.
"100 feet under the streets of South London is something called growing underground. It's a micro garden growing inside a World War II air raid tunnel, and it's feeding thousands of locals.
Watercress, coriander.
Richard explained it to me.
They were built between 1940 and 1942. They're a family of 7 deep-level shelters stretching across London from Belsize Park in the north of the capital, all the way through to Clapham South, each designed to house 8,000 people during the war. So very similar to how we've got it now, they would have had bunk beds down here, maybe 3 high. So rather than housing plants like we do now, they're housing and protecting Londoners, and now we're feeding Londoners. That is the Northern Line travelling above us now.
Yes, we're so far underground that we're under the tube station.
And so what's happening, like if we were to go straight up onto the street level, What's happening above us?
Just right above us is probably where Sainsbury's, the big supermarket, is. So they're right above us. Or Inferno's, if you, which is a nightclub, a well-known nightclub locally.
Pea shoot tendrils. Oh wow, that's a pretty plant. Am I allowed to touch it? So the first thing that comes to my mind when I see this is, how are you growing plants 100 feet underground where there's no sunlight and there's very little air?
So we have a big ventilation system that moves air through the tunnel, but also we're using these LED lights, which creates the photosynthesis process for plants, so they can grow. And what we provide down here is the perfect environment, 365 days a year for these crops. So the perfect temperature, humidity, airflow. It's a beautiful, breezy summer's day every day down here. So we grow a mixture of baby leaf and microgreens. This is garlic chive to the left here. We've got coriander, we've got pea shoots, salad rocket, and we pack those into pallets and sell them individually and sell them to the wholesale markets in London where they're distributed over the capital. And this is some coriander here. I'll let you have some of that. Try some.
Oh,
Really
that is
good.
so good. Wow. And it was like a burst of flavor. You know what's kind of incredible about this? If you think about it, this tunnel used to house people to save them. During World War II, this tunnel saved people's lives. And now here we are all these many decades later, and these tunnels are growing lives, which is so poetic if you think about it.
Back above ground, London is easily one of the most social media friendly cities in the entire world. With so many famous spots, one can't go very far without coming across a full-blown photo shoot. Sometimes on people's doorsteps. On Portobello Road and nearby Notting Hill, which is known for the colorful row houses, it's definitely become a thing.
Where are you guys from?
Rome.
Oh, you're from Rome.
Yeah.
I love Rome so much. You guys look really good. You're
So nice.
I've heard the residents aren't too thrilled with this attention,
cute.
but some places here definitely embrace the social media fame.
Apparently this is the Love Actually house, and it says, Love Actually, please give £1 per camera in pink box for homeless. Thank you. Instagram being put to charity and good use.
Another place we came upon that fully embraces the social media fame is a place not far from here called Sketch. And perfect timing, actually, because it's around 4 p.m., which means afternoon tea time.
Beautiful, thank you. Thank you.
Sketch is an 18th century townhouse turned dining experience, but most well known for their tea service.
I wanted to come here particularly because it has a huge following on social media. They have 336,000 followers for this experience.
Johanna, who's the marketing director at Sketch, told me about the time when they realized they were going social media viral.
I think it was a bit of a shock when Instagram took off and we were getting 300 posts a day tagging Sketch London, or geo-tagging us. And we thought, what's going on? How has this suddenly happened? All of these people are now doing this marketing for us.
And she's showing this American the finer intricacies of an afternoon tea.
So you've got your sandwiches, and you've got your scones here, and your jams, and your clotted cream, and you can decide whether you want to put cream on the top or on the side, on the bottom.
Did I ruin this?
You're meant to cut it in half, but it's okay, we won't judge.
Within 10 minutes, I ruined it.
So that's the obviously very English part of the tea. But then you've got elements which are quite French, because our master chef is Pierre Gagnère.
He's a 3-star Michelin chef from Paris, by the way.
And he doesn't live in the UK. And so when we decided to go forward with an afternoon tea service, he then had to think, how am I going to make my mark on that? How are we going to put a French twist on it?
Speaking of like the super traditional, Are you ready to have the cake out?
Yes,
Okay,
let's have the cake.
Let's go for the super traditional.
So yes, this is the traditional version of afternoon tea, where you have your cake that you eat with a fork. And obviously it's Victoria sponge cake, which is very, very English.
I've actually, yeah, I've heard of Victoria.
Have you had it before?
I have had it, and in fact, I once tried to make it.
Oh, did you succeed?
No.
This may be one of the most trending food experiences in London, but I also wanted to try something only locals know about.
I cook for a lot of people. I make a lot of people happy.
Mohammed Ramier's story starts off the same as tens of thousands of other refugees in the UK. But it has a different twist in the middle. 4 years after fleeing from war in Syria, Mo is now the owner and head chef of a wildly popular brunch club called Mo's Eggs. The brunches are held once a month in different locations around London, and you have to book your seat well in advance if you want a spot. And every dish that's served at brunch is a dish that Mo invented or learned and served to other refugees during his time living in a refugee camp in Calais, France. That camp was so huge it was given the nickname the Jungle, and it became infamous. His experience there inspired all his recipes. Mo met with us to show me how he makes one of his most popular dishes, called jungle eggs.
In a jungle, like we live in a shelter, and very wet weather, always like this. And in the shelter, like if you wanna go outside, you back with rain and dust and everything, you know. And when you try also like it's very cold and this stuff. Okay, just to take, it's not nice. And just a slice.
Okay, I can do that.
Easy, yeah?
Yeah.
It's not difficult.
Easy.
Jungle eggs is his version of shakshuka, but only with ingredients that were available to him in the jungle. While he cooked, he told me a little bit about his life in Syria.
I was studying in Syria political science. My life is like normal, you know?
Yeah.
Someone who have a goals when I study, when I works, when I have a families in the future. So, but like the war is when it start, is like destroyed everything. My town where I live is get bombed many times, you know?
Mo is from a town just outside Damascus, the capital city of Syria. And since the Syrian civil war began, Damascus has been enduring the brunt of the violence. Constant government airstrikes, power and fuel outages, car bombings.
So I moved to Calais to come to England to here because I moved from Syria. It's only my goal is come to England, not somewhere else.
And now that you're in London,
Yeah.
what do you love about London?
I don't love London.
You don't?
So busy for me. I'm from countryside, you know.
Yeah.
So it was very quiet. But what I love about London, it's a good community. A lot of people, a lot of nationalities. You can make friends with everyone.
And where are your eggs? Oh, here.
Yeah, don't mess with the eggs, please.
Oh, okay. I won't touch the eggs. Oh, no. Oh, no. I broke it.
Don't break my eggs. You break my heart if you break my eggs.
I broke the yolk.
London's food scene has been fundamentally changing over the years. The UN Refugee Agency says there were over 128,000 refugees in the UK in just 2018. So with that influx of new talent, refugees and immigrants alike are diversifying the culinary landscape in London and making it one of the most exciting foodie cities in the world.
My goals now, I want to do this brunch, not only in England, going around the world, doing it, Spain, America, Mexico, sharing culture, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay, so before we start, I just want to say cheers.
Cheers, guys.
Thank you for making the food for Chan. Lucky Chan, all of you.
Anytime, guys.
Some of the greatest music in the last several decades came out of London. And that legacy is memorialized at the zebra crossing on Abbey Road, made forever famous by the Beatles. At all hours of the day, huge crowds gather here trying to get that iconic shot.
I read the news today. Here comes the sun.
And they mark the walls outside Abbey Road Studios, where the Beatles recorded their Abbey Road album.
It's actually really cool to stand here and read all of this. What was that? They walked in, they're all boss-like, yeah, I can go in Abbey Road Studios. But look at this. Okay, so people have written the lyrics, like all the Beatles lyrics and their names and stuff, but if you scan down the wall, it says Abbey Road Studios 300,000, which is referring to like their Instagram following, which is so interesting to me because you would think that they would want to like deter people from coming here and like clogging up the street in front of them or whatever, but no, they were embracing it. And honestly, I could stand here all day and just watch this. Watch the people trying to get the picture in the car talking. It's great.
London may be known as a music city, but the local pubs where hundreds of musicians got their start are rapidly closing and being replaced as the city gets more and more expensive.
Proper way to drink a beer. So you take it in your hand, lip under the foam. That's the basics. But then what you have to do is look out to the horizon as if surveying a conquered land. So all in one move, back up.
Make that up.
Yeah, but it's just as true, though. Here.
This is the Holly Arms, a legendary pub in Camden, also known as the Amy Winehouse pub.
She used to drink here, kind of jump behind the bar occasionally, sing here. Yeah, she's kind of like a home away from home, let's say, while she's away. Yeah.
Pat has worked at the Holly Arms for years, and he's seen the place go through a few ups and downs.
The Holly Arms is legendary in Camden. It's a place where music people congregate. A lot of history with a lot of old famous names that used to come in here, play music, hang out here.
But over the last decade, music pubs like Holly Arms have been closing in rapid succession because of sky-high rents. And with each closure, a part of the grassroots music scene dies with them.
It's a bit of a change at the moment from the last, I would say, 10 years, where you can actually see now that they've closed a lot of the market stalls around here. We've lost so many music venues in Camden. It's kind of really detracting people coming into Camden for that reason, to see the music, to see that culture.
In fact, the Holly Arms is only standing here today because of the generosity of the community, who crowdfunded to save it from closing in 2017. But hundreds of other music pubs around London haven't been as lucky.
This was a place that didn't survive. It was a really, really famous pub called the Camden Falcon. But it's been torn down, and as you can see, there's really nice flats here. But a lot of really big bands got their start in the Falcon. Oasis, Coldplay, Blur, I think Franz Ferdinand. That was back in the day. It's been torn down. And now we've got this. Flats, apartments.
I think the attractive point about London is, you would say, your pubs, your fish and chips, your great music. That's the sort of staple that you go to London for. I know a lot of people that come here, they're tourists and they're like astounded by the pub industry, the pub life in London, pub culture, I would say.
I can speak as an American, they come to London and they want to see places like this. And I think it adds to the experience of
Oh yeah, of course it does.
City.
It's like, if I go abroad, I want to go see the culture of that country. So it's lovely to see when people walk through the door and they're tourists and they walk through the door and their eyes just go everywhere and they're just so amazed by how the pub culture is. And this is something, this is our job to kind of withhold in the industry and to be in Camden.
Do you feel that way? Do you feel like by being here at Holly Arms, you're kind of paying homage or holding ground to that part of the culture?
Every day I do that, yes. I think we kind of have to keep this culture going of music, love, London. You know, it's so important to the country, so important to the industry, and just for people to see around the world why they come here and to enjoy it.
As we talked, and as I finished up my last local beer, I realized that London, one of the most social media trending cities in the world, is really a city that's still reconciling its storied past with its near future by repurposing the old to keep up with the new.
Hey, Steve.
Hi, Natalie.
Good to see you again.
Oh, fantastic. Have a lovely time.
I did, and now I'm ready to go home.
Ah, that's good. Okay, then I'll get you home.
Thank you. You're pro at this now, Steve.
Yeah.